Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam.
Sam has a van.
I do have a van, and my Instagram is Sam in the van. Is that gonna be high enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
So Sam, are you happy with your van purchase?
Oh, I am so happy with my van purchase because it was just something I thought about for so many years. Eventually it felt like it was never gonna happen. And then now that I have the van and I'm actually going places, I never even thought about where I wanted to go. I just knew I wanted to go somewhere and do things. So it's nice to have it. I bought it with so many minimal things I had to do with it, so I can just go now, and that's a great feeling. You talked about your gas mileage, and I'm impressed by what you can get in this thing. That's so much better than I expected it would
Really?
be.
What is yours though? I'm curious.
On the highway it's 27. And
so
then,
I'm not doing that bad.
No.
I thought I was doing terrible.
No, not
I'm
at
like
all.
always having to stop for gas like every couple hours, and like when I was on long haul trips I was always concerned because like sometimes my gas gauge when it's cold it like freezes in the down position, so sometimes I have no idea what my gas gauge is actually at. So it's got character.
Well, yeah, I think that's half the charm of it though, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I expected this thing to get like 10. my old car, my old SUV got 12, like 12 to 15.
Then I'm doing good.
Yeah, you're doing really good.
Okay.
So yeah, my little Ford Transit gets 27 on the highway, and then
that's good though.
I don't know, 23 in the cities. I'm not sure, but it gets so much better than my old car, so I'm so happy about that. And I got it with 62,000 miles on it,
which is really low mileage for how you got it, like to have it already kitted out and everything.
Yeah, I was very happy about that because my last car was just breaking down on me again and again. So I really wanted something that was reliable. I was at the point that I was so desperate I didn't care if I got a van or a car or anything, and then this just fell into place kind of.
So when you looked on Facebook Marketplace, was it just like you searched car or van and it came up, or did you just like give it a whimsy like, I wonder if there might be a camper van?
Well, I looked any day I thought of it, probably like 3 or 4 times a week. I would look on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and I would look up camper van, I would look up conversion van, just van sometimes. I started actually looking into these Ford Transits, and I was actually just gonna buy one that wasn't kitted out before I bought this one. And I was just gonna do it myself. Yeah, and I was gonna do it the exact same layout. So the fact that I found this one with the exact layout that I wanted and all of the work done, I was so happy. And it was the same price as the van I was gonna buy. That wasn't kitted out yet.
And then you would have to put all that energy and money into it. With this one, it's just minor things that you have to do. So.
Exactly. So I felt so lucky that I was able to get it. But I think that your van and my van are just for 2 different types of people. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like your van has so much more character. My van's just ugly on the outside, and everyone always assumes that I'm some worker. But I kind of like that for
there's that
more
worker stigma. So you can hide more versus mine's like out in the open. It's like very obvious, and yours is like, and you have people coming up and wanting to take pictures with your van, and I feel like that'd be good for your business and what you want to advertise. So I think it's perfect for you. You know what I mean? And I just don't want people to bother me, so I think mine's perfect for me. So there's pros and cons with each, eh?
Yeah, I think you have to decide what you're looking for. Like, I think with your van, you have a whole community of people. I know that the Volkswagen, especially van community, is like its own entity, and people are really into it, and I feel like you can make so many friends through that community. And I don't really know how many people convert these little Ford Transits, but I think it's more for stealth and great gas mileage, at least compared to what I was used to getting. And it's just so small and compact. I can park it anywhere. It's just very convenient, and it fits the bed that I have in there is a full-size bed.
Which is incredible to have that much space.
Yeah. And me and my boyfriend have slept in there and comfortably. Like every time I wake up in the van, I forget that I'm in a van. It just feels like I'm in a bed because
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just that size, you know. So I don't know. I love your van and I love my van. I don't think that like one is better than the other. I think if you're looking to buy a van, you have to
weigh the pros and cons.
Yeah, weigh the pros and cons of each, and then go for what you think would fit you best. But I love how much character your van has, and the color on the outside is like the most perfect color. And I don't know, it definitely feels totally different.
It does.
Yeah.
Like yours is like a modern oasis. When I step inside, I'm like, oh, this is so nice and comfy and plush.
Yeah, and it feels like a little cocoon.
Yeah, it feels like a cocoon.
Yeah, and in here it feels more like I've been transformed back into like a surfer 70s movie, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It reminds me of like the endless summer or something. Like the second I get in here, I don't know why, but
I think another difference too is you don't have a kitchen. Like you have that pull out thing.
That's a big difference, I would think. I think that's something that in my next van, I would definitely want a kitchen. This was kind of just like a starting point, I think, to see if I would like it. And I'm not planning on living in it full time or anything. But I think for anyone that is, I think it's definitely doable to do it how I have it set up with the drawer, but it's super inconvenient. And having to bring everything out and set it all up and then put it all back, it's a whole process. And I think what you have with even just this small kitchen would make a huge difference. And just being able to cook inside of your van would make a massive difference. But for weekend trips and stuff, it's perfect just with the drawers pulled out. But if it's something you're gonna do every day, I think you need, especially now in 2020 when COVID's happening,
all this crazy stuff,
you need a bathroom. Because what I've realized in the past 2 trips I've been on is that bathrooms are locked at some gas stations and stuff. So.
Yeah, because they don't want random people going in nowadays. Like you can't just get into restrooms all the time. And maybe for health wise, some people, especially when they're looking into a van, they're like, I don't want to go to a public restroom, for instance. Like if you have like health stuff that you want to be cautious about. So I think it's definitely a different landscape, because when I started traveling full-time in my van, when I started thinking like, okay, I'm gonna live in my van for the time being, like I went into this before this whole COVID thing really struck and hit, and I was using so many public spaces for restrooms, for Wi-Fi. I was using rest stations. I was charging my equipment because I don't have solar. Like I have a thing now so I can charge my phone, but there was quite a while when I didn't have one. And so I was relying so much on public spaces. Even if it's just like go to a library, go to a gas station, go to a grocery store, like I was camping out there in a sense, or like I was going to the national parks and like using their facilities, because like this is more of a social vehicle.
I can see that.
And I feel like if I were to put something in here, that's something that I've been thinking about, is like when I go back on the road, is having some sort of like compostable little box toilet or something, and then finding a way to make it work. And also another thing to consider is a water source, because I realized like you can only store so much food and water without being dependent like on going and stopping places every couple of days. So I feel like I want to figure out like a better water source and a better like food storage thing and restroom. I feel like that's 3 things that I would want to do before like actually heading back on the road and making that like a full-time thing.
Yeah, I think that the world's just a different place now than when you started, I'm assuming, because
mine was like so carefree. Like I didn't think anything like this would happen, and like when it started happening, like I think the moment that I realized it was so serious was I was in Arizona pumping gas, and this lady pulls up next to me, hops out of her vehicle. She's in a full hazmat suit. And I'm like, this is like the early days of the pandemic.
Yeah, no one knew.
And no one knew what to do, and like everyone else was wearing masks, and they had like these huge puffy gloves and like suits and everything, and I was like, what in the world is going on? That's when I realized like how serious it actually was.
Yeah, it was just unprecedented. No one knew what to do, and still, even this many months later, like, right now we're filming it, it's
still in limbo. Yeah.
So it's just, you can't really rely on the same things that we used to be able to rely on when you started consuming.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone that wants to do this full time, especially, I'd say put some sort of toilet. Like I have a little pee funnel and a water bottle that I pee into, but it's like, you want something that's convenient.
Yeah.
With food, with a toilet.
With water source.
Yeah, with your basic needs, you want it to be convenient. If it's 3 a.m. and you have to pee, you don't want to have to go outside.
Especially as a solo female traveler.
Exactly, because you might be somewhere you don't want to leave your van, you know? So you want it to be convenient, you want to feel safe, you want to not have to leave your van for everything. So I think that there are ways that I'm gonna make my van more livable, and there's more ways that I'm sure you can do the same thing.
Oh yeah.
It's just taking the time, and I'd recommend to anyone, you know, if you have even a car or an SUV or anything, just practice in your car. Go for like a weekend trip and see what it actually feels like, because, you know, our friends were talking about how cool it is to live in a van, and it is cool. It's a totally different lifestyle, but it's also so different than what you expect, you know?
It's honestly hard.
Yeah.
It's harder than it looks.
Yeah, it's better in some ways than I expected, but then also just the convenience. You don't realize how convenient it is at 2 or 3 a.m. I guess I always have to be in the middle of the night. Because that's the biggest thing. I was like, do I want to leave my bed, or am I just gonna just lay here and hope it goes away? You know?
Oh, and then showering too, because I started with the gym membership, and I would just,
you can't anymore.
Well, I mean, technically I could, but I just won't, because for my health particularly, like I want to have really good lung capacity, like I want to take care of myself. I have people in my family who are like high risk, so like I don't want to potentially expose them to something like that. So
and also I'm sure they're not open in all the states. I'm not sure, but
I know that the local ones are open, like here in North Carolina, but I don't know like particularly everywhere.
Yeah, and I know there are a lot of options for portable showers and stuff, like outdoor showers. If you're going to be traveling in warm places, I feel like it'd be easy to we have a pump shower, just a hand pump. I don't have it in my van right now, or else I'd show you, but that's convenient enough, I think, for us.
There's those little bags that people use and they drip it down.
Yeah, I've seen those.
You like leave it out in the sun and it heats up.
I've seen that. But the one I have is just like a pressure pump thing.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then it has like a
spigot
hose nozzle on the end. So it has decent water pressure and stuff, but you can always, you know, heat up water in a pot. Yeah, like with your portable stove. And then if you don't want to have the solar showers. There are definitely options. You would know better than me because you took longer trips, but I would think that the toilet you definitely need.
Yeah.
And then the shower, you need to think about what you want. Like if you're comfortable in gyms, then you can have that as your option. If you're not, you can do an outdoor shower. If you're going to be in cold places, then you have to think about that in your van. But I've seen setups where people even shower in their car. Yeah. So I know it's possible.
It's definitely possible. If you have a will to make it work, you can.
Yeah. You have to be creative.
Yes, you just have to be creative with it.
Yeah. I've seen people do foldable doggy pools as their base.
What?
And then have a hula hoop for the top that they like hook up to their ceiling, and then have the shower curtain around it.
That is innovation. You can pull that out like next to the van.
Exactly, you could put it anywhere because it
put
just
it in the van
up.
and then just like
and then you just use one of those pump up ones. I've seen that.
You know what you do? You get the doggy thing, like the circular thing. You use it for your showers, but then when you find like a sand dune or something cool that you can slide down, you just float it up and then just like...
That would be cool.
Then it's a toy too, like...
Yeah. You
can play with it.
Yeah. I think multifunctional things are very helpful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man, but yeah, I think if it's something that you want to invest in, you look at your options, you do a practice run in your own vehicle or you know, SUV or whatever you have available to you, practice it and go for a weekend trip and see if it's something you actually are interested in. And if you are, I'd just say go for it, because I mean, it's 2020. You never know what's gonna happen next year. You might as well live your life for right now.
That's true. Say. Yeah. Was there anything else you can think that we should talk about that might be useful for folks?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about price range, or is that like a different type of video?
I feel like that's a whole separate video because I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Okay, so real briefly, if you have a bunch of money that you just want to blow on a van, get yourself one of those nice Sprinters.
Oh yeah, that you can stand up in.
Yes, with the high top roof. Those are so nice.
Yep.
If you are trying to save a little bit, go with the Ram ProMaster. Those are so nice.
Yeah, those are still, I would go for that one above the Mercedes.
I would, but Mercedes is more expensive when it's kitted out. So the Ram ProMaster is actually less expensive, even though in my opinion it's nicer.
Yeah, but you can like sleep sideways on the Ram ProMaster because it's the widest one.
Oh, that's true. That's a really good point.
I'd say if you're gonna go new, I mean, do your research, but get one of those ones that you can stand up in.
Yes, the high tops are amazing.
Definitely a big difference.
So those two are like your high end. Then you've got kind of your mid-range, which is like your low mileage, like newer truck SUV type setups.
Yeah, I mean, there's all different kinds.
There's all different kinds, honestly.
There's truck campers. You don't have to go for a van. Vans are just the popular choice. I've seen so many truck campers that were so cool, and SUVs. Yeah, you can fit a bed in a lot of SUVs or minivans even. Yeah. So if you want to just do something temporary, you have so many options that aren't necessarily what you think about with a van. The Volkswagen, like we said, is just its own style, and it has its own community and everything around it. And then my van's somewhere in between, I would say, like an SUV and then the stand-up vans. Like it's has the solar system and all of those perks that make a huge difference, but it's still small, so I don't have the convenience of, you know, being able to cook in my own space and things like that. So you have to work with your budget and what you have and what you want and what you're willing to compromise on. Yeah,
because like I personally know someone who spent like $2,500 on like a 90s van and like kitted it out for maybe like another $1,000. So you can stay on that low range right there, but he had like over 200,000 miles on it, so like it's not as reliable and it still breaks down for him. But there's like an example of a friend who has one that's like lower range. I feel like ours are both in the mid-range, because I know I got mine for like way less than like what a lot of people pay for VW buses, but I've had to put so much work into it that it kind of puts at that mid-range level, I would say. And I feel like yours is probably at that level too. Like yours is nice, but it's got like a low mileage on it, which I feel like is important for those sort of vehicles.
Yeah, I knew I was willing to compromise on the kitchen and not being able to stand up in my van if I knew my vehicle wasn't going to break down, because I know nothing about that stuff. Yeah. And I was just tired of it with my old vehicle, and that was something I didn't really think I was capable of doing. I'm sure I could, just from what, you know, what you can do. I feel like you would be able to teach me or something. But
honestly, I came into it with no mechanical knowledge, and I've learned a lot, but there's still a lot that I don't know. Yeah. But thankfully with like the van life community, people have been so friendly when I've broken down. There have been times where I'm literally like scrambling around and have like no help at all, and then you randomly meet someone who has a connection to someone who has a VW owner who's like, oh, this mechanical might be able to help you or whatever. And just like sometimes people like be like, I'm not working, but you can come to my house and I'll work on it. Just like, wow. Because they realize like, you know, when you're stuck, especially if you live in it. So like with yours too, if you're like not mechanically inclined and you don't want to become so, get yourself a van like Sam's. If you are really stuck on the VW bus, be prepared for it to break down and get yourself a AAA membership or whatever sort of towing membership you want to have, because you're probably gonna need it. I've gotten towed maybe like at least a dozen times in the past couple years, so.
I'm sure they all make good stories though.
Yeah, but there have been some really sketchy times, honestly, and I feel like if I had like a more reliable van, like if I had a van like Sam's, I would have been able to prevent a lot of that, because it's like more stealth and stuff like that. So you do have to consider all that stuff, but I think just live your life, find what works for you, and enjoy the process.
Yeah, you know you the best, so, you know, make a sheet of pros and cons and what your budget is, what you are willing to compromise on and what you're not, and you'll be able to figure it out. And look on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. You have no idea what's out there until it's there, you know, and check it all the time, because things sell so fast. That's what I realized.
That's crazy, because like mine, the same day that I went to get mine, I was the first person to respond to this person within like an hour or two of him posting it. There were literally a line of like at least 20 people trying to buy the same vehicle the same day.
It was the same thing with my van. There was like 17 or 18 people that messaged him within the same hour that I did. And the only reason he sold it to me was that I think the person before me said he was going to take everything out of it and just turn it into a work vehicle.
No.
Yeah, so
after all the work he put into it.
Yeah, so he wanted to see it go to good use. So they sell so fast, you have to be on top of it.
Especially the ones that are at least like a good deal. If something's overpriced, it's going to sit there, but like the ones that are actually priced right, they're going to sell like right away.
Definitely.
Sweet. Well, if there's nothing else,
yeah, I can't think of anything.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Please go check out Sam's Instagram. She might have a YouTube soon, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we'll see. Probably, we'll see. I want to finish the van first, and then maybe I'll make something where I show what else needs to be done and me doing it, because I know nothing. I don't know how to do anything, so it would definitely be entertaining. I think anyone can go into this and learn how to do it. I think is a big thing that people are attracted to, young people. The price range, being able to travel, being able to get out there, and then also building something for yourself was something that attracted me to it. So, you know, we'll figure it out. But yeah, thanks for letting me be on your channel.
Yeah, thanks for sharing all about your van.
Thanks. You guys should definitely subscribe to Nicole. She's awesome.
Thank you. All right, see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.